Barcelona have defeated Sevilla 1-0 with a goal coming from Sergio Ramos. Sergio Ramos was the one that scored the own goal, and the player that has given the assist has been Lamine Yamal. And so it's crazy to see how things do play out in the world of football. I don't know if you guys have seen that photo or that video of Lamine Yamal and Sergio Ramos together 6 to 7 years ago. Many of us thought that, okay, like, this is a little kid, it's just another player that wants to maybe play for Barcelona in the future, and then we have Sergio Ramos. But now we sit here today with Lamine Yamal going up against Sergio Ramos, with Ramos being at Sevilla and Lamine Yamal being at Barcelona. They meet again 6 to 7 years later, and it's just crazy how time does work. In the world of football, you never know what could happen. And the fact that Lamine Yamal was the one that assisted Sergio Ramos to scoring that own goal, it was like poetic. It was pure story, in my opinion. Now, stepping aside from that goal, I kind of want to make one thing very clear about this match. Barcelona did not really play that well, in my opinion. Do I think that Barcelona played bad or they played very good? No, I don't think that it was either. It was a solid performance. We played okay. We expected much more, but we got the job done. We got the 3 points, and there's not really a lot to take away from this game in terms of the collective performance. We did what we could, but because Sevilla came to the stadium with one current goal, which was to defend their box, of course, Barcelona were going to go into another match where it was going to be ugly. We had to go against a very tough defensive block. Players like Lewandowski, Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres, Gundogan, Rafia, they did what they could, but it just wasn't enough for us to score maybe 3 goals, 4 goals, or maybe even 5 goals. We wanted that beautiful Barcelona game that we saw about a week ago, but we couldn't get that, and that's okay. That's fine. We moved forward. We got the 3 points. We did what we could, and this does lead me towards the next thing. I want to talk about the individual performances of some of these players. Like, for example, Rafia. I think that Rafia, in the 20 minutes that he had in this match, he played really good. Like, really good. He was playing very intense. He was making those runs, always looking to see who can pass him the ball. He was very active for Barcelona, and I think that if Rafia did not get injured very early in the match, who had to leave like in the first 25 to 30 minutes, maybe Barcelona could have scored a goal. That probably would have not been an own goal because of how active Rafia was. Rafia in this match was playing like a central attacking midfielder. He was in a 4-2-3-1 system, with him being between the right winger and the left winger and right behind the striker, which was Lewandowski. And I knew that this type of formation was going to happen because when we defended, it was a 4-2-3-1 with Rafia in the middle, and then when we went on to attack and we had the ball in the opposition side, we formed a 2-3-5 with Rafia being the right central midfielder and playing right next to Cancelo, Lamine Yamal, and Lewandowski. So he had a really good role, and I think that he came into this game with the correct attitude. I feel really bad for him because when I saw him leave the match, he went to the bench and he was just very frustrated, very annoyed, because he's like, okay, like I had all of this enthusiasm to play, and now that I have this injury, it just really sucks. And I heard numerous reports about Rafia potentially being out for 1 month. So it's unfortunate, and that only means that it's going to lead towards more playing time for Lamine Yamal and maybe even Ferran Torres. And speaking about Lamine Yamal is the other player that I do want to speak about, because with him, he had 36 touches, 2 out of 3 successful dribbles, 1 out of 1 accurate crosses. He had 2 recoveries, 4 out of 7 ground duels won, and created 1 big chance. Lamine Yamal had a very active game also. I think that as he does play more and more, he just gets more effective on the right side. It's a pleasure to watch him play because I think that he is the biggest threat for now, at the moment, for Barcelona in the front 3. It was not Lewandowski, it was not Joao Felix, it was again Lamine Yamal at the age of 16 years old. And it's amazing, like what I said in the beginning of this video, to see Lamine Yamal go up against Sergio Ramos 6 to 7 years later, when many of us did not even think that kid was going to make into the first team. We are now here with Lamine Yamal going up against a 36, 37-year-old Sergio Ramos. And it's perfect timing because about a couple of hours ago, Lamine Yamal also signed his new renewal with Barcelona. It's a new deal that has been established and is going to be announced on Monday, October 2nd. This deal is going to take him until 2026, and he's just 16 years old. So he will be with us until at the very least when he turns 19 years old. Still a very young player and a lot to explore in these next 3 years for Lamine. I would also like to think that because Xavi Hernandez could not get Bernardo Silva this summer, I think that he's converting Lamine Yamal into a player of his profile, someone who's very comfortable on playing out wide, and also someone who's very comfortable that can play inside. Lamine Yamal can do both. I think that Rafia also adds that type of element too, like with Rafia playing very centrally. Xavi is looking for that next Bernardo Silva, a player that's able to out-dribble the opposition, always looking for the 1v1, a player that can play out wide and inside. He's getting that from both Rafia and Lamine Yamal, but to be more specific, Lamine Yamal. And he is also a player that, because he's so young, he has a higher potential to go even higher than Bernardo Silva. It's just going to be a matter of, can he work hard? Can he be focused through his young years? Can he neglect the outside noise? And can he just focus his life on just football in general? Because if he can do that and then you combine that with the correct coaching from Xavi Hernandez, you get a phenomenal player. It's very exciting. And so moving on towards the next youngster, the player that was, I would say, the player that was his partner in crime, I would say, is Fermin Lopez. Fermin Lopez came in the match for Rafia because Rafia left on the 30th minute. Fermin Lopez, man, like I think that he's really trying to make his case here. Like he wants to prove to Xavi Hernandez that he is a player that should be staying in this squad. And I heard this report about Xavi Hernandez not wanting Fermin Lopez to join the Barcelona B side because Fermin Lopez wanted to go to Barcelona B to get more minutes, to get more playing time, to get more fit. But Xavi did say, no, you cannot go to the Barcelona B side because I need you here in the first team and only in the first team. I want you to be 100% focused on the first team because I am going to be using you a lot. I do trust you and you are going to be seeing a lot of minutes. Those minutes that you wanted at Barcelona B, you'll for sure get it here at Barcelona in the first team. For sure. And look at what happened today. Fermin Lopez came in to play a total of 70 minutes and he impressed. You can tell that Fermin Lopez really wants it. Every touch that he took when he was receiving the ball from one of the defenders, it was like a magical touch. He always took down one player in the middle of the pitch and went on to counterattack with the team, with Lamine Yamal, with Lewandowski, with Joao Felix, whoever was there. Fermin Lopez was the one that progressed the ball. He had a tremendous performance. And so to me, for this season, he has exceeded all of the expectations. And in this game, he has completed 90% of his passes. He had 3 out of 3 successful dribbles, 4 passes into the final third. Let me say that again. 4 passes into the final third, which I think was the most out of any player in this squad against Sevilla. 2 out of 3 long balls completed, 7 recoveries, and 6 out of 13 ground duels won. Fermin Lopez is a high volume player that constantly wants to always threat you to score goals. Very similar to Lamine Yamal, but Lamine Yamal does it on the right flank. Fermin Lopez does it centrally. And I think that he has been doing really good for someone who has been asked to fill in for the role of the absence of Pedri and Frankie de Jong. Fermin Lopez is doing a tremendous job carrying the ball from deep areas, creating outside the box. You know, we saw Gundogan play as a 6. Xavi always wanted Gundogan as a number 8 to be that creator outside the box, but because Xavi knew that Gundogan had to play in a deeper role, he asked for Fermin Lopez to create outside the box, and he did exactly that. So to me, he's a tremendous player and a player for the future. I want to see more of him, and hopefully we get to see Fermin Lopez go up against Porto. And so now lastly, I just want to end it with the defense. The defense was the reason why Sevilla could not score any goals against us. We had Joao Cancelo, Koundé, Christensen, and Alejandro Balde. Those 4 players shut it down against Sevilla. Joao Cancelo was the player of the match. He created the most chances against Sevilla with a total of 4. He completed the most dribbles, also with a total of 4. He had the most tackles, which was a total of 4, and he won the most duels against Sevilla with a total of 9. So Joao Cancelo was just immense. And it's very exciting, right? Because I know that this is kind of going to get me out of topic right now, but I also want to talk about Julian Araujo real quick. Julian Araujo has been impressing with Las Palmas. Defensively, he does look very much superior to Joao Cancelo, even though Joao Cancelo just put out a defensive masterclass, right? But someone like Julian Araujo is much more, I would say, inclined to defend. He loves defending, and you can tell by that, by his body language, by the way his attitude is on the pitch. So if you combine Joao Cancelo's performance and what he brings to the club with Julian Araujo, you have a great mix between those 2 right backs. You have a right back that's very defensive and another right back that's very offensive. It's some very exciting stuff. And so stepping away from that, going back to the other defenders, Jules Koundé, another masterclass performance, a tank. You can tell that he understood the way that Sevilla played because that is where he came from. And the total stats for him is a total of 90 minutes played, 5 clearances. He was dribbled past 0 times, right? Which is the most key thing ever. Ground duels won, 1 out of 1. Aerial duels won, 4 out of 5. He had a total of 78 touches and 62 out of 69 passes were completed, which was a 90% pass accurate rate. It's monstrous. It's amazing. Top class. Christensen and Balde did amazing as well, but not as good as the other side like Koundé and Joao Cancelo. So again, it was not a game that we wanted against Sevilla. We wanted to see a 4-0 or a 5-0 type of scoreline, but we got what we got. Even Xavi Hernandez has said this: I am happy with the game. I think it was one of the best of this season. The only thing that we lacked was the goal, but it came in the end. And so that's basically it. Like, there's nothing really to massively critique here. We have a huge responsibility next week though, and it is against Porto. That is going to be the game to win. If we win that game, we cover like 90% of the problems for the Champions League group, right? If we beat them at home, who is our toughest opponent in this Champions League group stage, most likely we will definitely advance to the next round, which is going to be the thing that we really do want. There's a reason why Araujo did not play in the match. It is because we want to go on full force, attack on full cylinders on every side of the pitch, and defend very well with Araujo and Koundé leading that back line. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.